Hello, this is Heather Scott, and I will be doing a brief overview for the curriculum and assessment materials used in the California Transitional Kindergarten classrooms. Those materials include the California Preschool Learning Foundations, the frameworks, and the Desired Results Developmental Profile. This overview is intended for teachers who are not familiar with the kindergarten curriculum, the transitional kindergarten curriculum, and are just trying to get to know a little bit more about what they are and how they are used. So first up, we have the California Preschool Learning Foundations. The foundations tell the teacher what to teach. So it's outlining key knowledge and skills that most children can achieve when they're provided with the rich kinds of interactions, instruction, and environments that research has shown to promote early learning and development. These skills are split between 9 different domains. Each domain is represented by an icon that you can see here along the spine of the volumes. The California Preschool Curriculum Frameworks tell a teacher not what to teach, but now how to teach it. It's telling the teacher how to integrate these learning concepts intentionally throughout the day, daily routines, lesson plans, and activities. The frameworks are made to support each of the foundations, hence the 3 different volumes. In the first Preschool Learning Foundation, Volume 1, there are 4 different domains. There is the Social Emotional Developmental domain, represented by the heart. This consists of concepts that promote the student's sense of self, their ability to interact socially, and form healthy relationships with their peers and teachers. The second domain, Language and Literacy, is represented by a yellow book. This domain goals students in developing their listening and speaking skills, reading and writing abilities. Followed by the English Language Development domain, represented by a blue globe. Students are also goaled towards listening, speaking, reading, and writing skills. However, this particular domain is focused directly on English language learners. The 4th domain in the first volume targets the individual skills of mathematics. The mathematics domain, represented by this here green triangle, consists of concepts including number sense, algebra and functions, measurement, geometry, and mathematical reasoning. On this slide here, you see a photo from a math activity that I set up for my students outside. As you become more familiar with the foundations and frameworks, you may notice that the most effective activities and lessons address more than one domain. A seasoned teacher may be able to point out 4 or 5 different concepts that are being learnt in this photo. In Volume 1 of the Preschool Learning Frameworks, we see information that supports the skills that we found in the Volume 1 Foundations. The frameworks now gives teachers guidance on how to implement activities and lessons that support the development of the students' social emotional abilities, language and literacy skills, and math skills throughout the whole day. So some of these strategies may be planned by the teachers. However, other activities are implemented into the environment, and the student just discovers these and is learning all on their own, independently. Pictured here we see a group of students who chose to sit on the quilt that I had put outside, and next to them there's a basket of books, and they just took it upon themselves to sit down together and look through books during their outside time. Volume 2 of the Preschool Learning Foundations, there are 3 domains of development covered. We see here a purple crayon used to represent the visual and performing arts domain. This domain contains concepts on visual arts, music, drama, and dance. The second domain is represented here by this orange soccer ball, and that is the physical development domain. In the physical development domain, we look at skills for children to develop their fundamental movement, their perceptual motor skills, and their active physical play. The third domain for the Volume 2 is represented by this red apple, and that is the health domain. In the health domain, teachers are given a list of skills for children to learn, including healthy habits, safety, and nutrition. On this slide, there are 2 sets of photos. Here on the top left, there are photos of a student pretending to be the big bad wolf in the 3 Little Pigs play. So that would cover the drama aspect of the visual performing arts domain. And here on the right, we have a group of students lined up to cross a balance beam, which covers definitely the fundamental movement skills and the active physical play, and it probably covers a little bit of the perceptual motor skills as well. The framework Volume 2 is used to support the Foundations Volume 2. It gives ideas and suggestions on how to implement the arts, the physical activities, and the health concepts throughout the lesson plans and environment, and in an educational yet interesting and engaging way for the students. You know, they are just 5 years old, so worksheets don't always work with this age group. They need hands-on activities. Pictured here on the left, you can see an art project that I did with a group of students, and to the right we see a group of my students who are wearing masks that they decorated for their upcoming play Where the Wild Things Are. In Volume 3, Foundations, we see the symbols of a bear and a leaf. The red bear represents the history, social science domain, which contains concepts on self and society, becoming a community member, gaining a sense of time and a sense of place, and also a little bit of economics through the context of a marketplace. The second symbol, the green leaf, is used to represent the science domain, where students can enhance their skills on scientific inquiry, physical science, life science, and earth science. Pictured up here is a photo I took of one of my students holding a painted lady butterfly. He found it in the schoolyard on the ground. I think it had a hurt wing, so it was a really good opportunity for him to do some investigating and observation skills. This was just this past spring during that huge butterfly migration that we received here in Southern California. And our third framework, Volume 3, provides teachers with ways and best practices to implement lessons and opportunities for students to practice their skills in those domains we just talked about, history, social sciences, as well as the life, earth, and physical sciences. The frameworks are really great in guiding teachers into planning lessons during every moment of the day. Each routine, each verbal exchange, and even when the children are working independently, they're all opportunities to implement these learning concepts as seen through the frameworks and foundations. On this slide, there's a picture over here of a student who chose to use the binoculars that I had set outside. He's looking for birds that we previously learnt about during our class time. And on the other side, we have a group of students who are using what they know about economics to make exchanges in a pretend marketplace that I had set up. Moving on from curriculum, here we have the California Department of Education assessment tool for transitional kindergarten. It is the Desired Results Developmental Profile, most well known as the DRDP. This tool is used to support the curriculum materials. You may recognize the familiar symbols as seen in the foundations and frameworks, except you may notice that there are 2 additional symbols here in the assessment tool. And that is this first one, the puzzle piece. That is to represent approaches to learning. And it has to do with self-regulation and the student's ability to stay focused while learning. And the other additional symbol is this blue globe. So in the assessment tool, there's an extra section on English language learners, specifically for those students who are coming from the Spanish language. Moving on, we see measures at a glance. So here you can recognize the different domains that we've been talking about, and each of the domains has its own set of measures. There are the 11 domains, and there are a total of 55 measures in this DRDP-K assessment tool. Once you open the actual tool and you're ready to use it, you've read through the instructions, this is what the first page will look like. This is the first measure for the first domain, and that is the approaches to learning, curiosity, and initiative in learning. Below the title, there is a brief description, followed by the stages of development. So you, the teacher, your job on this page is to just bubble in one of these stages according to where the child is developmentally. So after choosing the stage, or rather before choosing the stage, you would look at the description of each of the stages to see where the child is, and if that still doesn't make your answer quite clear, you can go down and look at the possible examples. I really like these examples, especially when I am planning activities for the classroom. If I'm struggling with a particular domain or a particular measure and how to present that in the classroom, I will go and look at these examples for inspiration, if not use the exact activity that I find here on this page. So after all 55 of these measures have been scored by you as the teacher for each of the students, you will then transfer those answers onto this scoring sheet. Each student will have their own scoring sheet, and this information can then be used by the teacher to plan future curricular lessons and activities. Or in some programs, these scoring sheets actually get sent back to the Department of Education to show the students' progress and keep school funding. That pretty much wraps up the curriculum and assessment materials being used right now in California transitional kindergarten classrooms. I hope that you found this overview to be helpful. And I wish you good luck on a successful year in your transitional kindergarten classroom.